Isabelle, thank you.
Well, thank you and welcome, and thank you for coming to our, fair in Berlin.
It's a wonderful event. It's 10 years.
Yeah, I
Can you
know. I know.
imagine?
Can you imagine? Yeah, yeah. We did 10 years, but we started here in 2015, so it's 11 years ago. But we had 1 year, where COVID didn't happen in 2020. But
We will
otherwise,
forget
yeah.
that. We will
Thank
forget
you.
that.
Thank you. I love this space.
So yeah, it's a wonderful place. It's great to bring all the natural winemakers here, like 90 or something like that this year. How do you feel that natural wine scene changed in 10 years?
I mean, look, it's a completely different situation. The reason, in a way, why I started our event, in 2011 in London was because there was no major event or international event that were putting the winemakers in front of, members of the trade, but also members of the public, because at the end of the day, they're the ones buying the wines. So it's really important that that they can meet all the producers. People didn't talk about natural wine. It just kind of didn't exist as something that was different. And so I think now we're in a very different situation. Thankfully, I think people understand that not all wine is made the same way. And yeah, it feels like now, it's grown a lot. There's more and more growers still now coming along. I think the wines are getting better and better. And there's a much better awareness. So, we've come a long way in just like 10 years, 10, 11, 12 years. Yes.
I see a lot of young people also. Do you agree that maybe that way of wine production is really drawing attention for the younger generation also?
Yes, I mean, we're facing we're not in an easy situation right now where, you have in North America, you've got the tariff situation, which is making it very difficult. Obviously, you've got the wars, you've got global economic downturn, post-COVID difficulties, and people are drinking less wine. And it's not uncommon to see in wine regions people are actually getting rid of vines. They're grubbing them out. So it's a big
That's
problem.
A big problem.
It's a big issue. And so yes, people are drinking less wine. Even young people are drinking less wine. But I think what's amazing about these growers is that they work in a very ethical way. They're very mindful of the environment, and they make very authentic wines. The taste is really authentic, and they make wines and drinks that are alive. And that appeals, I think, to people who have a sensitivity to the environment, to the well-being aspect, because these wines are better for you. And so I think it is appealing to a younger, I think younger people can identify with this because for them, ethics is really important. But, we still need to go back and focus more on education. People need to understand the importance of farming, how what they're doing is so important. So if it's not the end of the road, for sure.
After so many years, you are still passionate.
Yes.
I mean, really interested. How did it happen? Because when you were studying as a master of wine, you probably didn't study that thing, right?
Yeah, I didn't. In fact, I had to unstudy to kind of learn more about what people are doing here. I think what happened is, when I went into the wine industry as a second career, I was already 28. I mean, I wasn't that old. But, I went back to learning wine, but I was still working. I wasn't actually really thinking of making wine my career. I just wanted to go back to my sources because I was brought up on a farm. My family grew grapes, so I was really always in contact with farming and growing grapes. And as I started studying wine, I realized that actually wine is another business. It's about, the bottom line. It's about surviving as a company, which is fine, but it didn't really touch my heart. Like I love nature. Nature is everything for me. I live in the middle of nature. I grow a lot of stuff. Basically I love being in the woods. And I didn't really get that connection. But then I started meeting growers, some growers who are here today, who really inspired me by their love of nature, of the plants. And I thought, my God, this is, it really resonated and it made me feel alive. And I was like, this is it, and then, yeah, the rest is history. But for me, this is my connection to nature via making wine, preserving the living, preserving the biodiversity, preserving the microbiology that is present in the soil, in the wine. So this is like, for me, it's when it all comes together.
So before, like, let's say 10 years, there were a lot of critics about, fault in the natural wine scene and stuff like this. This changed a lot. How do you see this?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're got to a place where everything is coexisting. It's nice. I think there's space for everyone, and ultimately, I think our job is to make the best wines we can. And I think we've also seen a lot of improvement. People understand more, I think, the microbiology, the fermentation. And we can, our job is to educate people so they understand the importance of farming, they understand the importance of low intervention winemaking, and then they can make a choice. It's not about saying, don't drink conventional wine, or it's just about giving the facts and letting people choosing and empowering people. Because with drinking these wines, we can change the environment, literally one glass at a time. And times are hard. And I think sometimes it's quite hard to justify 20, 25, 30 euros in a bottle of wine. I can understand that. But I think the key is maybe just have one glass, but maybe something really delicious rather than, because wine is a cultural product, it's food. And sometimes it's better. I prefer having a tiny piece of really good sourdough bread than, like a baguette of something which, doesn't taste anything. And I think wine, this is what we need to communicate about, because yes, people are drinking less. They have less, disposable income, but maybe they can just drink a little bit better.
I don't want to talk about drinking wine and health in that, traditional sense about the alcohol, but I want to stress out that if wines are made in the natural way, you are also drinking something which is good for your guts, for sure, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we need to look at wine which is made like this. So, when it's literally alive and full of microbiology. Of course, we don't want to promote alcohol because alcohol is dangerous for your health. But these wines are digested a lot better than when they're full of pesticides and additives. Yeah, for sure. So I think this is, if you are somebody who thinks about what they eat, then I think, you should really think about what you drink, because somehow we've dissociated wine and other drinks, but wine from food.
Yeah, this is a shame.
All ends up in the same place.
Yeah. So where do you see the natural wine scene in, let's say, 5 years?
Look, I think I'm very optimistic because I wouldn't be here. But it's tough for everybody. We're right now at a point where, like we explained before, people are drinking less and so on. But I think we've got to keep going. I think we've got to be, more and more communicative about, the beauty of these farms, the importance of biodiversity, because otherwise we're building deserts, in our countryside. So I think, we will slowly grow. We will always be a niche market for sure. But I think we're slowly growing and touching more and more people. And so, yeah, I think we just need to keep going and keep faith and, keep drinking good wine. That's it.
Isabelle, big thank you for organizing this. And I need to say that I wanted to come for many years, and I thought I will be visiting Raw Wine in London, but somehow I'm here and it's the 10th anniversary, and I'm happy to be here.
It's perfect.
But thank you for doing this. You're doing a great job.
Thank you so much for coming, and thank you for the interview. And thank you, everyone. Just keep drinking natural wine.
Yes, be open-minded, try, and enjoy.
Exactly.